Start. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome for the defense of my before we start the session, I'd like to cover session initially a few words just to and then we will proceed for
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم.
So before to start the session further, इसमें हम दो हिस्सों में सेशन डिवाइड होगा. पहले मैं अकेले अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन करूँगा. ड्यूरिंग द प्रेजेंटेशन क्वेश्चंस को अलाउ नहीं करेंगे तो कोई प्रेजेंट कर रहा होगा. एंड आफ्टर दैट जो ऑडियंस है वो सवाल कर सकते हैं और उसके बाद फिर ऑडियंस को हम रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि चले जाएंगे तो देन बाकी जो इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल एग्जामिनर है वो प्रॉपर एक लिसनिंग का सेशन स्टार्ट करेंगे. ये प्रोटोकॉल हम फॉलो करेंगे ड्यूरिंग द सेशन. ये बात आपको बतानी थी. मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा तो फील्ड से आएँ और हम
In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, surely Allah is with those who are as-sabirun. Al-Quran 6:46. Welcome all of you. My name is Sayyid Tawqir Ahmad Ashur, Ph.D. scholar, Department of Mathematics. Today I am going to present my Ph.D. defense on the topic Consumer Adoption Model for Solar Power System, a study conducted in southern region of Pakistan. The project supervisor, Dr. Fahim Raees, co-supervisor, Professor Dr. Mirza Mahmood. In this presentation, we will discuss introduction and background of this study, objective of the study, methodology, theoretical framework, results, discussion, and conclusion. Introduction and background. We are all aware energy crisis is a big problem in Pakistan. The main reason behind is people rely mostly on crude oil and gas, which is not good for the environment, as well as they are running out of. So we required some alternative approach, alternative solution for the environment-friendly energy approach. The use of the sun as energy is one way of doing this, which is clean and it's not going to be exhausted. Potential of solar energy. The southern part of Pakistan gets a whole bunch of sunshine, and that makes a really good place to use solar power system. Existing research. Prior studies in Pakistan have highlighted the benefits and challenges of solar power adoption, but have not provided a comprehensive consumer adoption model for the southern region of Pakistan. Research gap. We identified in order to accelerate the adoption of solar power system, in this region, a well-structured model is a requirement to overcome the challenges faced by people in southern region of Pakistan, which need to be developed. The main objective of the studies are as follows: develop a model and framework to promote the adoption of solar power system among consumers in Pakistan. Identify the key factors influencing the adoption of solar system. Provide insight to assist government and private sector organizations in planning and allocating their resources for promoting green energy solutions. Beneficiaries. The key beneficiaries of this research would be Pakistani consumers and households who can use clean and sustainable energy through solar power system. Methodology which we use here. The study was carried out in the southern region of Pakistan using internet-based survey. The study was carried out in the framework of a mixed method approach involving qualitative and quantitative data collection. Deductive approach was adopted, which involved formulate the hypothesis based on existing literature and then analyze through empirical data. SPSS software was used for descriptive statistics and multiple regression. A structural equation model was utilized through smart PLS software to test the research hypothesis. Theoretical study framework. This research is based on the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, which is known as UTA, UT2, and a multiple regression model to understand and predict the acceptance of solar energy system in Pakistan. UTA, UT2 model is widely used in the field of information technology system to understand the factor influence the acceptance of the new technology such as solar power system. Structural equation modeling is a multivariate statistical technique which used to analyze structural relationship between factor and variables, and also we apply multiple regression. This is our main framework, which is known as UT2 framework. If you see here, we have different factors which depend on different factors, such as if I define one by one each factor first before telling you the hypothesis. Our first factor, PE, it stands for performance expectancy. This factor used as a degree of belief that people use solar power system will be more useful and will reduce electricity bill. The second factor, effort expectancy, mention how simple it is used a solar system. Third factor, environmental belief, used as a people beliefs about
Recording has
climate change
started.
and opinions about them shift into green energy. Social influence, another factor, used as a factor to know how much people are influenced by others to use new technology such as solar power system. Hedonic motivation is another factor which tell you the pleasure and enjoyment using any technology such as solar power system. Very important factor, price value, the perceived worth of the technology in relation to its cost. Facilitating condition, used as a factor to know whether people have enough space or infrastructure to use the solar power system. Perceived behavior control, used as a factor to know the interest of people using solar power system. Attitude toward use, used as a factor to know people attitudes toward the use of solar power system. Behavior intention, refer to how often people plan and to use of solar power system at home. Switching behavior, used as a factor to know about people plans to replace traditional electricity with the new solar power system. So these are my hypotheses. Performance expectancy is a significant factor toward adoption of attitude toward use of solar power system. Effort expectancy, second hypothesis, effort expectancy is a significant factor towards adoption of solar power system. Environmental belief is a significant factor towards adoption of solar power system. Social influence either is a significant factor or not towards adoption of solar power system. Hedonic motivation, either this is a significant factor or not toward adoption of solar power system. Price value, or we can say cost, is a significant factor towards the adoption of solar power system. Facilitating conditions is a significant factor towards adoption of solar power system or not. Attitude toward use is a significant factor towards the behavior intention towards adoption of solar power system. Facilitating condition is a significant factor towards perceived behavior of the adoption of solar power system. Perceived behavior is a significant factor towards behavior intention of solar power system. And behavior intention is a significant factor towards switching behavior of the adoption of solar power system. So these are 10 hypotheses which we test throughout the study by using structure equation modeling approach. We test these 10 hypotheses by the help of structure equation modeling, which we use by the help of software for PLS. Proposed structure equation model equation. Each equation, it seems like a multiple linear regression equation, but there is a difference. Here we don't have a variable. In multiple regression model, we have variables, but this structure equation model involves factors. And when we're talking about factors, factor involves a combination of variables. So these are the structure equation model where we have 4 equations. Attitude toward use as a dependent variable in first equation along with 6 independent variables. In this equation, we want to know either attitude toward adoption of solar power system is depend on these 6 factors or not. This is our first equation. We will analyze later. Second equation, either perceived behavior control toward adoption of solar power system is depend on the factor facilitating conditions. Third equation, behavior intention is either depend on 2 factor attitude toward use of solar power system and perceived behavior control. And the last equation, switching behavior towards behavior intention, either these 2 factors a significant factor, either behavior intention is a significant factor or not. We will analyze this by the help of structure equation modeling approach. Here, beta 1, beta 2 up to beta 10 are the slopes of each independent factor known as the regression coefficients, indicate the effect of each independent factor on the dependent factor. Following are the demographic results. As I earlier told you, our study based on quantitative and qualitative data approach. So first we ask some demographic questions. These are the result summaries. We conduct survey among 200 people of southern region of Pakistan. Here we can see this graph tells us this study involved 79% male and 21% female. Since our main target was the household, head of household, so most of the data covered from the male dominant. Since we know that our society is mostly dominated by male people, as a head of family, so most of the data covered from male. Second, we have age group, and if we see most of the people having an age between 18 years to 45 years. Occupation level, if we see most of the people are from private sector organization, more than 50% people cover from the private sector. Education level wise, we clearly see that we cover mostly data, almost 90% or more than 90% data covered from the people who either graduate or having a degree of post-graduation. We cover data in different districts of Sindh, southern region of Pakistan. Mostly data covered from Karachi. At that time when we covered the data, we went in 2020-21. At that time there were only 6 districts in Karachi, but right now there are 7 districts, since Kemari also known as a district of Karachi. So we cover 6 districts of Karachi as well as rural area of Sindh, where we cover data from Baghi, Dalu, Hyderabad, Kashmir, Khairpur, Lalgana, Sattar, Kandwalaya, Narpargar, Umarkot. So we cover different sides of southern region of Pakistan as well to know the behavior of and intention towards the adoption of solar power system. We also ask the question before conducting the main question which we require to test either uh, attitude towards the adoption of solar power system. We ask the question either people know the difference between renewable and non-renewable energy. So most of the people, 74% say they know they know about renewable energy, while some say they don't know, and 9 say maybe a little bit more about the knowledge. Monthly energy consumption also we know we want to see right now by using conventional energy such as grid system energy if they use then what was their monthly energy consumptions. Now these are our main objective main major variables. As I earlier told, performance expectancy is a factor which involves four questions or four variables. These questions mentioned such as solar PV is a practical alternative to conventional energy. We ask this question on Likert scale. Likert scale means we ask the question in ordinal uh, form of data. Later we analyze this data. So different factors which we earlier discussed involve different variables. So either these variables make factor or not, we decide on the basis of factor loading result. And the threshold values are if the factor loading result or values is more than equal to 0.6, which means these four variables make a one factor known as performance expectancy. If any variable does not have a value value of 0.6, okay, if the value is less than 0.6, we have to remove this variable from the analysis because this particular variable don't make the factor. So luckily we have a data we collected all of the factor loadings of all factors either values of 0.6 or above. So we can say that all all variables make factors such as performance expectancy, effort expectancy, and so on. We also test the reliability of the question. This is a very important part of the research. Reliability test. Either the question are reliable enough or not. Can we conclude the conclusion or not? So we check on the basis of Cronbach alpha values, and the threshold value is 0.7. The result should be greater than or equal to 0.7, and we can see that all of the factor values are greater than 0.7 or above. Since our study involved 10 to 11 factors, and since all of the values are 0.7 or above, so we can say that here the results are reliable. Lastly, the most important thing, validity of the model. The model which we are using either is valid enough or not. To validity test, we check by the help of average variance reliability test, and the threshold value is 0.5. If the value is greater than or equal to 0.5, so we can say that the model is validate. So all of the values are greater than 0.5. So after checking the reliability analysis, validation of the model, and the validity of the factors, we further move towards the hypothesis test, which was our main objective to test the hypothesis test. This is our first approach. Actually, as I earlier told, our main strategy or methodology based on two approaches. First approach, test the model by the help of UT2 model, and then later we test by the help of multiple linear regression model as well. So the proposed hypothesis along with their beta values, coefficient values, which we use in equation, and along with the p values, we can see that out of 10 hypotheses, only 2 hypotheses are non-significant since the p values are greater than 0.05, threshold of p value is 0.05, or sometimes we use threshold value 0.10 as well. But since these two factors, performance expectancy and effort expectancy, p values is greater than 0.05, so we can conclude these two factors are not a significant factor in our study towards the use of solar power adoption. So we can say that performance expectancy is not a significant factor toward adoption of solar power system, as well as effort expectancy is not a significant factor toward adoption of solar power system. Rest of all the factors such as environmental belief, social influence, hedonic motivations, price value, facilitating conditions, attitude toward use, perceived behavior, and behavior intention, all remaining 8 factors is a significant factor, are the significant factor toward the adoption of solar power system. Further, we just put the values in the structural equation modeling. Here we can see, actually this is a complex equation which we earlier discussed as well. So we can see that attitude toward use of solar technology based on 6 factors, but out of 6 factors, 2 factors are insignificant. First 2 factors for P stand for performance expectancy and effort expectancy are not a significant factor, while other 4 factors are significant factor towards the adoption of solar power system. These are my actual model. First we discuss the equation, and after removing the insignificant factor, we have equation number 1 with the R square 69.40, which indicate the reliability or coefficient of determination, which tell you the accuracy of the model, 69.4% accuracy. If we use this equation model for the prediction, so this model explains 69% accuracy level, while second equation gave us 31% accuracy level, third equation gave us 67% accuracy level, and the last one gave us 58% accuracy level. Then our second approach. In second approach, we apply multiple linear regression model on the same data, but since, as I earlier told, to perform multiple linear regression model, we required variables instead of factors. So what we did, we actually combined these 5 questions which actually make one variable or one factor. We combine this into form of mean and then consider as a single variable. So these 10 factors which we earlier used, performance expectancy, social influence, and so on, we combine this into one variable, and then we rerun and we want to test by the help of multiple linear regression model to check either this result are same as the structural equation model. But we also add demographic variable as well. We also add demographic variable in our study to test either is there any demographic variable is significant towards adoption of solar power system or not. So we apply multiple linear regression model with main dependent variables attitude toward use of solar technology. This is our main response variable or dependent variable, and rest all of the variables such as some demographic variable, gender, age, education, occupation, household income, marital status, knowledge about renewable energy. These 7 variables, one more variable, average monthly expectancy consumption. These 8 variables are demographic variables which we earlier didn't use in our study of structural equation modeling. But in multiple linear regression modeling, we also add these 8 factors to know either any of 8 factors is significant enough towards adoption of solar power system or not, along with the remaining 8 factors earlier which we used, but after converting into variable form. So the first we run multiple linear regression model involving all 16 variables. So we can see that only few of the factors are significant, and most of the factors are also, most of the variables are not significant. Then we adopt the regression approach, stepwise regression approach, where we have to remove highly influenced factor one by one after seeing the highest p values corresponding to each variable. In this approach, we have to remove each highest value of p value. We have to remove each variable one by one, or maybe 2-3 variables together after seeing the highest value of p value. So we remove 7 most insignificant factors from the previous result. In this result, we are using 16 independent variables, but after removing 7 most insignificant variables, we rerun regression and then see the results. Still, some of the factors, if you see the threshold value of p, either 0.10 or maybe 0.05, so some of the values are greater than 0.10 as well. So we remove the values again to find out the optimum result. So after removing 2 most insignificant factors, this is our result. This result also indicates there is one factor, performance expectancy, still having a p-value more than 0.146. So we have further removed this value, this variable from the study and redone regression. And this is our final result. This final result involved one demographic variable. Knowledge about renewable energy is also a very important significant factor which we didn't use in our UT-UT2 model. But here in multiple regression model, this factor can be involved. This is significant enough towards adoption of solar power system. While remaining 5 variables, environmental belief, social influence, hedonic motivation, price value, and perceived behavior control, also a significant factor since the p-values is 10% or less. And also if you see the R square, it's surprisingly very high, 98% compared to the previous result, which involved only 69%, but this result, 98% tell us this model is very good, which explains the variation, almost all variation, 98% variation from the data. To validate this model, now we validate this model by the help of ANOVA table, and the p-value corresponding to ANOVA table tell us this model is significant since the p-value is less than 0.05. So this multiple linear regression model is significant, and our required multiple linear regression model is defined in the form of equations such as knowledge about renewable energy, environmental belief, social influence, hedonic motivation, price value, and perceived behavior control. This is our final model or final result. Next, final discussion. Factors significantly influencing consumer attitudes. The UT-UT2 model was used in the study to investigate the variable affecting consumer sentiments. According to the findings, customers are significantly influenced by the 4 factors: social influence, environmental belief, hedonic motivation, and price value to utilize solar power system. Their p-values were less than 0.05, indicating a significant impact towards adoption of solar power system. Factor found insignificant by using both methods. Since the p-value is greater than 0.05, these 2 factors are performance expectancy and effort expectancy, but deemed to be unimportant towards adoption of solar power system. Extension research in the southern region of Pakistan. This study claims that it is a continuation of the research in Pakistan, especially southern region of Sindh province. On the acceptability of technology, it claims that this study is the first to apply the UTA-UT2 model to analyze the customer attitudes and intention and behavior towards adoption of solar power system. The statistical significance of the model. This study also emphasized the statistical significance of the model, which based on reliability and validity analysis using structural equation modeling. Limitation of the study. This study is aware of its limitation, including the fact that it only focused the southern part of the Pakistan, which may restrict the applicability of the findings to other parts of the country. Future research direction can be used as a study how people in different parts of Pakistan use solar power system. Figure out why some people keep using solar power for a long time. Check if solar power is cost effective and sustainable. Educate people more about the benefits of solar power system. Make sure solar power companies, government, and research work together to improve sustainable energy. Conclusion. The study involved innovatively combines UTA UT2, and a multiple migration model to establish a novel framework for solar power system adoption, offering a fresh viewpoint on technology acceptance in the solar energy context. Survey results shows that effort expectancy and performance expectancy were not significantly associated with attitude toward use of solar system. Environmental belief, social influence, hedonic motivation, price value, and facilitating condition were positively and significantly influenced towards adoption of solar power system. The findings can guide government and private sector organizations to promote eco-friendly energy solutions, emphasizing factors like cost as a dominant influencer. Our published research work as well as accepted research article on the basis of this study. We published one paper in HEC recognized X category, which already published, and Alhamdulillah, our second paper also accepted in HEC recognized W category journal, which having a JCR of 3.9 impact factor, Q1 category journal. We accepted this journal. I hope this will publish very soon. Reference we use in the thesis, following are the list. In the end, I would like to acknowledge to my dear supervisor, Dr. Paneem Rais, who provided me with timely guidance, helped me stand whenever I fell. And without whose cooperation and care, this project would not have been possible to complete. My words cannot express the support and mentorship he provided at every stage of my project. I would like to acknowledge also to my research co-supervisor, Professor Dr. Mirza Mahmood Bey, who facilitated me during my research phase and provided me guidance at every stage of my project. Thank you.
ओके, जो सेशन है उसमें ऑडियंस को अलाउ करेंगे क्वेश्चंस करना, फ्री टू आस्क द क्वेश्चन वन बाय वन, हाथ रेज कर दें जिनको भी कोई भी क्वेरी हो क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं। पहले आप क्वेश्चन पूछे, मैं सुन रहा हूँ। ऑडियंस में से पहले पूछिए, ऑडियंस को
for a wonderful presentation. Thank you. I want to know if you show me that slide compared to the regression table.
I think the
regression table.
This one?
Next, forward, where you have mentioned the variables.
Okay.
Yes, I think.
I mentioned variable here.
Yes, the first variable where you mentioned about the knowledge about renewable energy usage. So if you see if you show the table, the results. 7. The variable and knowledge about
This one, this is the first result. Next one, the final result based on this.
Knowledge about renewable energy. The T value shows it's minus 1 point something, isn't it?
T value minus 1.6.
T statistics, yes. Don't you think it means that higher the knowledge about renewable energy, lower the usage towards the solar system?
Actually, I think this minus is by mistake I typed. This must be positive since the coefficient is positive. As we know that if the coefficient is positive, T also is a positive. Since we are using the formulas coefficient divided by standard deviation of coefficient. So I think this minus I by mistake put here. This must be positive.
This must be rectified because you are giving conclusion on the basis of
yes, exactly.
Another question is regarding the sampling technique. What type of sampling technique you have?
We adopt non-random sampling, where we apply snowball sampling as well as convenience sampling in our study. With the study based on online-based survey, online-based question I design and then conduct the survey to these two groups.
Why not quota sampling? Because you have taken the data from different districts. You could have applied quota sampling. Because little bit I think we applied as well since we cover all of the sectors of southern region of Pakistan.
I didn't mention in our study, but if I see we cover data from different part of country, I would like to share.
So the demo.
Yeah, this one.
Yes.
So we cover different factor as well. Our main focus of definitely Karachi, which is large population of Sindh covered in Karachi area.
So, so you are concluding your results on the basis of Sindh or Pakistan?
Only southern region of Pakistan. This is our limitation of the study as well.
Right. Okay. So if you see, you have just taken a the number of respondent is very less.
Very less.
In various districts. Why is it so? Have you
Since,
traveled?
as I earlier told, most of the population since are from Karachi, almost 50% of the Sindh. So we cover. Since at that time when we covered the data, we collecting the data, COVID phase was going on, so it's very difficult to visit myself to these cities. So that's why the observation are not very large from other part of India.
Thank you.
Sir, don't you think that your sample size is 200 is too small to generalize your conclusion?
Since I mentioned as well in limitation of my study as well, but the main requirement of the thumb rule we can say the major variable that we have 41 major variable and approximately 5 minimum requirement in thumb rule is between 5 to 10 times of total major variable. This is the thumb rule to select the samples. So we cover actually the minimum requirement as I earlier told him as well. Since COVID phase going on, so we cover only 200 samples, which was our minimum requirement, which is acceptable since this is 5 times of the total major variable. Definitely this is limitation, but
So this study was, the survey was conducted in 2020,
to 2021.
2021. And in the past 2 years, the knowledge has increased and most of the people are going towards solar. Do you think that your conclusion or your model would still be valid after this?
Since my project phase started in 21 and 22, definitely this there is some limitation, but future research can be done on this.
And you also have mentioned the previous models that have already been presented regarding this particular problem. Have there been previous researches as well?
No one so far used UTA-UT2 model. Actually, there were two model of UTA-UT. One known as UTA-UT, UT, just Unified Theory of Acceptance model, first version, which earlier developed in 2003 by Bangladesh. But no one so far used UTA-UT2 modified version of the model which I developed in 2012 in respect of solar power system in our region, Pakistan. No one so far used this for as a contact of solar power. So then this is a novelty. Plus, we also mix multiple radiation model. So by the mixture of these two, no one so far used this type of combination for the solar power.
Also, can you explain how did you finalize your 10 factors?
Which factors? Actually, these are the factors which actually required factors, or we can say theoretical uh, factors of UTA UT2 which we use. I didn't make my factor myself. These are the study, which is modified version of UTA UT2 model, which based on 10 factors, and we use same for our
It's
study.
based on these 10
Yes,
factors.
exactly.
Just one remark there. For your presentation, I definitely know that in your thesis, you have comprehensively reviewed the literature and but in your presentation, you didn't show the literature review date, maybe for the time limitation. So that is what one of the comments of your presentation. The second thing is that you are using the factor loading for each of the factors, 10 factors you have done it there. And you have these critical limits. So there should be some reference that should be there, that these are from the literature where benchmarking is done for acceptance for the factor.
For this presentation, I didn't mention, but yes, I mentioned these things in our cases, of course. So I didn't mention, but since I just mentioned these are the threshold values, but definitely I already mentioned these things are in my cases when I use this as a handle.
Do you also try to go for some non-linear relation?
No, we didn't. We only focus on UD2 model and multiple linear regression model. Future research can be adopted on non-linear regression model as well.
I would suggest you to
Please.
mention the reference of that rule of thumb about the sample.
I mentioned in our thesis as well. It's also my paper which earlier accepted. I mentioned all things. So I mentioned in the thesis, but not mentioned in the.
From my inner curiosity, I also
Yes, sir.
want to
I will
ask you
share.
another question. Have you got your questionnaire validated from experts? Like, have you gone for face validity and content validity of your questionnaire? Have
We
you
just
showed your questionnaire to some
use
experts?
statistical technique we use for the reliability, or but we don't went for any expert. But on the basis of statistical results,
Yeah, you have mentioned about the discriminant validity and criterion validity, but there are two more types of validity.
Yes,
and that is face validity and content validity.
no, I didn't.
This is from the audience. Okay, so audience से मैं request करूँगा कि to leave उसके बाद हम defense
Thank you.
we will meet again. Thank you, sir.